Hello there, moms and dads. It is my pleasure to be talking to you tonight about asthma and allergies. I'm also totally excited that it was nearly an 80-degree day today, and I hope that you all got outside. It has been really awesome just chatting with our families here at the office about, what they're looking forward to. Do they have any trips planned? Are they starting to travel? Gathering with families. It's a really exciting time of year. There's a month left of school, which all the kids are stoked about. On the flip side, we are also talking with a lot of families that this is the time of year that they are most stressed because the transition seasons of spring and fall can be pretty challenging for their kid with asthma and allergies. This is the time we're supposed to be going outside playing and doing all the things. And then this is where they're like gearing up with the EpiPens and the inhalers and steroids and all of the different things. And it can just really put a damper on just quality of life and fun for these families, which is why we wanted to do this webinar for you tonight, because with the constant challenges that maybe you've had with your kid just being ill with maybe the respiratory stuff or the croup or skin challenges, all of these different things, it's time for a change up. Many of you have told us, we're grateful for medication out there, but we don't want our kids to be on this, for a lifetime. And, obviously our approach is a little bit different, and we want to break down how the immune system actually responds during asthma and allergies, and how it's not necessarily the allergen the problem as much as it is how our ability to adapt has been weakened. So that's what we're going to be breaking up. My name is Dr. Michelle Dougherty of Lifetime Health and Wellness in Naperville, Illinois. So I know some of you may be tuning in from not this area, but that's okay because the information still applies no matter where you live. It just may look a little bit different. So here we go. All right, we are starting. So we can blame any of these factors on the screen here, just, coming out of winter, they haven't seen the sun in a while, but yeah, you can supplement with vitamin D. Or just, yes, coming off of the holiday seasons and just not moving around as much. And then for those of you who have kids that are doing more of the hybrid model for public school, that they're not having regular PE or being able to have recess time, that can be challenging. Sleep and stress. I mean, now it's getting lighter earlier and staying lighter later. So maybe that's affecting your kids' sleep. When it comes to nutrition, man, we could blame every month of the year. There's either a holiday or there is a birthday party or a barbecue or you name it. There's always an opportunity for sugar. And we know that the research covers how sugar actually decreases your immune response. And we feel like if there's a lot of germs out there that, that's what's getting us sick. All of this to say that, yes, of course, these factors are going to cause a lessening of the adaptability to these stressors. But the key here that we're going to dig into is just our perception of this invader, this germ, this antigen as very harmful and threatening to our bodies and our lives. And so it tries to respond accordingly. All right, so we are going to break down these conditions. So you are no stranger to what some of the symptoms of asthma are. So it can show up as trouble breathing, tightening of the chest, then panic sets in, and then they're freaking out, and then you're freaking out. And it's a really scary situation for families, for sure. And between the chemicals in our environment, the fact that we've been in our homes more in this airtight, insulated home, many of you have already taken the step to, hey, we're going to do hypoallergenic laundry detergent. We're going to try to eliminate plastics. We're going to just clean up our actual cleaning products and try to use something that's going to be safer, where these kids are not going to be reacting as much. Another interesting correlation that we found just in patterns when we are taking our case histories is that cesarean sections are on the rise. And for whatever reason that this is happening, it's basically disabled that first adjustment. So we know that we can jumpstart our gut by going through the birth canal. And that's because our mucous membranes will get exposure to the bacteria of the vaginal canal. And that's very supportive for that immune response, knowing that 70% is in the gut. In the same breath, too, when the rest of the body is coming out, that thorax, that chest is getting compressed and then it springs back. Not only is that pushing fluid out of the lungs, but it is jump-starting that first breath. So that's important to note. Just if you have a preemie, we know the last thing to develop are the lungs, and so they may be more prone to infections and those types of challenges. I do have to hit up our germ killing frenzy that we have, and especially with the past year that we've had. The great thing is we're all washing our hands with soap and water more. And then on the other side, it's like we're using a ton of hand sanitizer, antibacterial soaps. We are living in a much more sterile environment, which doesn't give young developing immune systems the ability to practice, so to speak. There's something to be said about kids who've grown up on a farm or have pets, or they're playing outside a lot in the dirt. Unfortunately or fortunately, I mean, as we're growing up, we're exploring the world around us, through our mouth and just our senses and so on. So the sterile environments can actually work against us. And obviously, if we were to just look at the allergens alone, everyone in the entire family would have it. Our whole community would have asthma and allergies, but we know that's simply not the case. And then physically, I wanted to, from a physical standpoint, we have a thin muscle that surrounds our lungs, and it's called the diaphragm. The diaphragm is what enables us to breathe, and we know posture can affect our breathing as well. And the mid to lower neck area is what's innervating that diaphragm. And it's no surprise that when we are running our nervous system scans to look at the integrity of how that nervous system is adapting to life, that we see a correlation with adults with anxiety and kids and adults with asthma having stress stuck on that same area, that mid to lower neck that is supplying the diaphragm. So we start to see these shorter, more shallow breaths that are more labored and more rapid. So it all ties in. So if we see a kid maybe with a more flexed or forward posture, we know we're just cutting off that lung capacity. I mean, if you try to take a deep breath like this, you're not going to get a full breath. So it's really kind of cool to see when asthmatic kids are getting adjusted and then they're able to take a full, clean, clear breath, what a difference that can make. And we need to repeat that process so that their body learns. And just a little bit of research, this is pediatric research, 45% decrease in the number of asthma attacks after receiving chiropractic care. I mean, that's pretty amazing, pretty awesome, that almost 50%. And that 31% voluntarily chose to decrease medication. Obviously, since that is outside of our scope of practice and we don't prescribe, we always encourage to keep the conversation open with the referring provider, so that you guys are working closely together to do things in the safest way possible. And I did want to share a little story of one of our rock star young girls. She recently turned 7 years old, and since the age of 2.5, Mom said that she suffered from allergies, asthma, and eczema. So by the time she found her way to our office, she was almost 4 years old. And the challenges of being on the inhalers, the steroids, the antibiotics, the hospital visits, ER visits, it was a challenging time to say the least. And the cool thing is she responded pretty early on in care, where at one point she said, "Mommy, I don't need my inhaler. I can run outside now." I mean, we want our kids being kids, we don't want them to have to second guess every move they make or to play outside with their friends. We just want them to just go and live and be happy and healthy. So it was really cool to see, but we know that some kids, they're battling with this for years or even a decade, and we know it can be that much harder to unravel and unwind. So Mila's story is, no different than many others. It was just they had enough hope and just the willingness to try something different to hopefully get a different result. And it was just really neat to help this family, just guide them through, and just being able to support this little body that was still growing and developing, because we know that growth spurts, it's another point of contention when it comes to a transition that we have to adapt to. So if all of our energy is going into that growth spurt, it doesn't have enough left in the tank to help support how we perceive our environment and those allergens. And so when it comes to allergies, we typically think of the seasonal allergies, fall and spring being the biggest times of transition. So we have the weather changes, different plants and trees in bloom, storms, dust, wind, all of the stuff. So it's not just the pollen. Signs of allergic reactions are going to be our itchy eyes, our watery eyes, our runny nose, our coughing and sneezing, skin rashes, but then it can also become more serious. We could have constriction in the airways where we feel like our throat is closing in, and vomiting and anaphylactic reactions where we need the EpiPen. Peanuts has been a big one for food allergies. Cat dander, the pollen. And if everyone reacted to the same substances, we could blame the substance, the allergen. But the reality is we don't all react the same way. You can have members of the same family, and not all of them are going to have allergies and asthma. So unfortunately, we commonly look at what's common out there is the norm, and it's anything but. It's cause for questioning and looking a little bit deeper. There we go. I totally missed switching the slides, but we already covered this, so you guys are all good. So the key here is your nervous system. Your brain and nervous system is the master controller of the other big honchos out there, the immune system and the endocrine system. So we know that approximately 90% of your nervous system, the whole point of it is to improve and stimulate function within the body. So that includes hormones, that includes immune response. So when we are looking to helping to support the immune response, we can't ignore the master controlling system that organizes information and processes it and helps every other system function at its fullest. Knowing that 70%, we mentioned this before, 70% of your immune system is coming from the gut. And that's where, yes, we can support gut health. We can support it with things like probiotics. We can support it with things like bone broth. We can support it with, if you've heard of the GAPS diet, feel free to look that one up, but also vagus nerve health. And meditation is good, deep breathing is good, chiropractic is excellent when it comes to stimulating vagus nerve health. The vagus nerve is the master brake pedal of the entire system out there, because we know that there's two modes to your nervous system. We're either in stress mode, fight or flight, or we're in rest mode, which includes growth and development, digestion, sleep, those types of things. All right, so with that too, if 70% is in the gut, then the remaining 30% is going to be the neurological component. And we have two modes to that. We have Th1 immune response and Th2. So think of Th1 as just trying to get it out, just react and go. So it's going to express itself through the skin in maybe the way of a rash or eczema, through the eyes, they start watering, they're itchy, the nose, it's runny, a lot of more mucus production, and it's just trying to push it on out. Then we have Th2. So this is going to be, I like to call this more of the smart locating responder. It's very calculated but calm. And what it does is it's going to flag the intruder, it's going to tag them, and then it's going to eliminate them. So it's a more calmed and thought out approach, whereas Th1 is just reaction mode, go, 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 just get it out. So it's no wonder that when we see kids that maybe had, a rougher birth history or just a lot more stress on their system for whatever reason, that they tend to be more prone to having these symptoms of asthma and allergies. So ideally, we want our bodies to be able to calmly identify and eliminate whatever is not serving us at the time. And there is room for both. You want them to be in balance. There are times that you want to, if you get food poisoning, you want to know that you can vomit it out or eliminate it on the other end. You don't want to be retaining toxins either. So it's when these two modes of our immune system become out of balance, that's where trouble can arise. And the key to health, honestly, is adaptability. So the one who is most resilient, that adapts the best, wins. That's what it is. And what we do as pediatric and family chiropractors is we help guide your body, but enhance the body's ability to adapt by stimulating that calming side of the nervous system, because most of us are stuck in that fight or flight mode. And, even just looking at the last year, many of our bodies have become wired for stress if it wasn't already. So that means how we respond to our environment can be more challenging. So I think of this adaptability reserves as like a bucket. The water coming in is going to be stressors, physical, chemical, mental, emotional. So then hopefully we have a spout at the bottom that it can start to drain that water. So you don't want to overfill it, because then you can't rise up to the challenge and meet your body where it's at. But the big thing too is knowing that, we have so much to look forward to post-pandemic. Connection is key. We're starting to have more family gatherings. We want to know that just being in the presence of someone else isn't going to send us into an immune spiral. We know we have to do our part to stay healthy too. And just wanted to share as we're closing out, just 5 ways to help boost that immune response and just set us up for better success as we navigate through the seasons and through different stages in life, whether you're a child or an adult. But making yourself a less favorable host, in the beginning, we were talking about, a variety of things, sugar being one thing. We all know that we should be getting a lot more water and sunshine and exercise. These are all so important, especially now. Let's take advantage of what's in our environment. We absorb more vitamin D when it's done naturally through the sun to our skin, and just being able to play outside, it gets the plumbing moving. Being outside in nature is a great way to instill a sense of calm and nutrition, being able to eat what's in season and local. Not to mention, if we have asthmatic or allergic children, knowing the importance of eating organic. You want to reduce the pesticide load. They're already reactive to chemicals and different things. We don't need to have that in a different way in our food. And of course, eating the rainbow, you're going to get various nutrients and vitamins and minerals from that. And last and definitely not least, chiropractic care. We have families who've been under care for years, more for wellness, and they know this may be the challenging time of the year for them. So usually spring and fall, they may boost themselves up by getting some additional adjustments to support their body's ability to adapt. So it can be very helpful even once you've crossed that bridge, but knowing what the triggers are and just being able to support accordingly. And yeah, there's some cool data out there on chiropractic that 60% less hospital admissions, 59% less hospital days, 62% less outpatient surgeries and procedures. Obviously, notably the ear tubes, the tonsil and adenoid removals, and then 83% less pharmaceuticals. So I'm a parent too, and we thank goodness modern medicine and medication and surgery does exist, because absolutely it is necessary at times, but it may not be the key to sustaining and keeping us healthy. So I'm going to exit out of here. So all of that to say really is, if you have any questions about your child or just want to get into just more depth with this information, feel free to shoot us a question. You can put it in the chat box. We have many ways to reach us. Our whole point is to help calm nervous systems so that our kids can adapt better to whatever environmental change there is out there, whatever stressors out there. We can't eliminate stress, obviously, but if we can help support that little body do what it's designed to do, which is to heal and adapt and thrive, that's where it's at. And that's what we want to be able to do for you and with you. Have a great night, guys.